Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Alive and Kicking podcast. And I'm here sort of in an unprecedented manner. My guest today and I were having a ton of technical difficulties, and then her partner fell and hurt himself. And then she tried to call me, and all I could hear was my voice in the phone. So she and I decided to reschedule, and I thought I would just come on and have a chat with you because things like this are I've learned to kind of go with the flow with them and not worry too much about what's happening and why and all of that. So, but I didn't want to waste the opportunity to gather together with you in this forum. So I really have no agenda for what our conversation today is going to be about. So I'm just going to open up a channel to divine wisdom and let that flow through me. And hopefully we'll get some messages that are going to benefit us. So we're going through a really incredibly intense time. There's a lot of external noise in the atmosphere, obviously, a lot of almost, at times it can seem almost circus-like, and sometimes it can seem dire and consequential. And we never really know what's going to be in front of us. So we're sort of learning to navigate this new world together as we go. And it's just like this podcast, like I was expecting to connect with my guest and we couldn't make that happen. So we just have to go with the flow. So I'm curious what that might mean for you. What does go with the flow mean for you? I'm learning to ask more questions of myself and listen more for the answers, and to distinguish and discern when the messages are coming from my mind and when they're coming from my heart, because I've made a commitment to listen to my heart. But that's not always so easy to do because my mind can get all ramped up with the latest story, the latest narrative, the latest concern, the latest information. And it's a little tough for me, frankly, to drop into my heart. So this morning, I asked, before even getting out of bed, what was on my plate to pay attention to today. And I had a couple of things scheduled. One was this podcast, but that's not what came up this morning. What came up was to pay attention to the meeting that I was going to have with two friends. We were meeting for coffee. And so there were actually another crazy thing happened. I went to the chiropractor yesterday because I've been having problems with my neck, and she told me that I was all knotted up in my neck and my trapezius and my shoulder. And so she told me to get a massage. So last night, when I was done with work, I went online and I made an appointment for a massage today. And I arrived at the massage place and I went in, the door was open, but there was nobody there. I could hear somebody in the back room who was doing a yoga class, and they were doing the gong, but the reception area was dark. And so I could tell that and I had waited in my car to go in until right before my appointment time. So it was clear to me within about 5 minutes that nobody was coming for me. And I did not indeed have a massage scheduled. So it's funny, 2 of the 4 appointments that I had scheduled today did not happen. And it was funny because this morning when I asked what should I be paying attention today, it was the 2 meetings that actually did occur. So I'm wondering now, what was in those 2 meetings that was so important for me to know? And these were really coffee dates. They weren't meetings, but they were with 2 of my closest friends who I know have a really good understanding of me and where I'm at on this whole spectrum of events and happenings that are going on right now. And so it was really awesome to reconnect with them because I'd had a couple of really hard days and a couple of really difficult things have occurred. One of which was I've been really working over the past probably 5 years on, as a part of becoming a truer version of myself, speaking what's on my mind. And one of the things that has been challenging for me is that I know what's on my mind, but oftentimes that I don't have the perspective of that I really typically need or desire. So if something comes to my mind that involves communicating that I'm having some big feelings about something, I'll usually wait and see if I can gain some different perspective on what it is that is the core issue behind what's presenting for me in the moment that has me feeling the big feelings. And what I've noticed in the past maybe year or so, as I get closer to actually speaking my feelings in the moment without this break between the experience and my evaluation of what's going on, that things tend to blow up a little bit, like they don't go the way that I had planned for them to go. And I usually end up experiencing some kind of pain or unease or discomfort. And so I haven't really gotten clear on what that's all about. But during these two conversations that I had today, my two friends were kind of like giving me a big place to feel into all of what was going on for me and why I might be, how I was sorting through this. And because I wasn't even sure if it was like okay for me to be expressing myself in the moment because because of the outcome and the problems that people have with me when I express those big feelings. And it might not even be big feelings. It just may be things that they disagree with, or that don't sit well with them, or they wish they don't want to hear, or things like that. So I'm just sorting out how to be okay with that kind of situation, or what I need to do, how I need to adjust, if at all. And so they were just giving me this big, wide berth to really just be in that space of not knowing. And that's really where we're going to need to be in the future, is being okay in this space of not knowing and being who we are regardless of the outcome, and being who we are regardless of how the outcome affects us, and whether we would really want it to go a different way, or trying to control how it went, or I kind of feel that there's like that codependency aspect in there, that I would prefer that things go a little differently, and that they react to me in a little different way, in a better way, that's better for me. And so it's like kind of like this cycle of codependency. They want me to be reacting a certain way, and then I want them to be reacting a certain way. So we're just sort of learning how to be with each other without these expectations of how things should go and how we want to feel as a result of them. So I don't know, this is all a big new experience for me. So what else is occurring right now? I think that some of the today is actually the day after the whole Facebook whistleblower Senate committee appearance occurred, and I'm seeing lots of conflicting information about what that was actually all about. And at the time, and it's given me a couple of different perspectives from which to view what was occurring. And I'm giving that a big wide berth, that perhaps it's not really about that story, because there's clearly several different narratives, and it's not important for me to believe one or the other. I can certainly discern which one feels more truthful and relevant for me, or I can leave that as yet unknown, because the truth is that this external show that's playing out is really more energetic, in terms of letting all of that things that are unclear or hidden or suppressed come to the surface, so that they can be released and we can move into a space of truth and clarity. And one of the interesting things about clarity is that one of my mentors has been teaching about, is that clarity is not about certainty. It's not the same thing. Clarity is a place where you can see clearly what choices you have to make. And you still have to figure out what choice to make. And so that's kind of where we're at, is like we're being presented with a lot of different scenarios and information. And then it's always going to be up to us to decide what we want to believe, what we want to think, what we want to act on, what we would prefer not to act on, all of these things. And I feel strongly that because we're learning a new way of being in the world and being with each other, we really need like a tremendous amount of patience right now. So patience with ourselves, patience for us to have experiences that maybe don't make sense on the surface, or that we don't understand, or that we wish would go a different way. Patience with other people to have that same sort of space to grapple with what they're going through, even if it's not looking pretty or calm, or, kind of the way we would want it to go. So I think a calm, detached, but observant approach is what I'm trying to cultivate for me. And I would love for you to make some comments below if you're watching on YouTube, or on my Facebook page, about what it is that you're actually experiencing right now, and what you're giving a wide berth to, and what you are trying to bring patience to. So anyway, I guess that's it for me, and best of luck with all that. And I'm sending you tons of love and support for our combined, shared, collective, amazing, fantastic, wild journey together. Blessings and lots of love.